So we are joined live now by State Senator Doug Mastriano in front of the PA Farm Show complex, and the attempt to get in to see the PPE stockpile has not gone well.
To say the least, the bureaucracy wins. So I spoke, how's it going, my friend? I spoke personally with Secretary Redding and several members of his staff, and it seemed like there's nothing to hide. There's nothing in here but pallets of PPE, and as somebody with oversight, I'm on the Ag Committee as well. And I did, of course, notify other members of the committee. Just let us in, take a look what's going on. This is taxpayer money. These are assets that could have been used during the shortages past fall. I don't know if people remember. Hospitals were crying out. There was a huge shortage. Fire, EMS, police were as well. Hey, and tow operators, anyone out there with public safety needed PPE, personal protective equipment, and it was not forthcoming. And apparently, there's a massive stockpile, maybe 15 to 20,000 pallets, 800 truckloads apparently. Truck drivers, I defer to you on the mathematics of that. But if this is here, why is it here? Why can't a state senator or any elected member constitutionally with oversight powers, and especially a member of the committee that's involved with this, just see what's going on? And I think this is a problem that over the past year the transparency hasn't been there. And so I don't know how long I've been sitting here, 90 minutes? I don't know. To play this game with somebody who represents 250,000 people is absolutely sickening to me. And this just makes the story worse. Maybe there's nothing to this. Maybe they have a good explanation. And I did reach out to the secretary, and that's when I waved you off initially, for the interview, just to give him a chance to reply. And he stopped responding to me. So it's just a darn shame that we have an administration that promised this, and this is no game for me. This is not a got you. It's just, okay, we heard the breaking story today. I'm in Harrisburg. I'll swing by and find out what's going on. Maybe there's a logical explanation. But to double down, to play games, to waste my time and other people's public time, to not see what's going on here is just sickening to me. And we deserve better in Pennsylvania. I'm just so tired of this. This is no game. People's lives are at stake. People may have been exposed to the virus because of the shortage of PPE, and come to find out there's a massive stockpile in this building.
You mentioned the Secretary of Agriculture, and just so everybody has their geography correct, let me just do one quick thing with the camera here. It's across the street.
Yeah. And I knew in the end, I was 30 years in the federal bureaucracy, which is far more complex and daunting to overcome than a state bureaucracy, but I knew they'd wait me out. And we heard it's evolved into 4 or 5 different stories of who's responsible, and I would correct. I'm not going to throw a bunch of people under the bus, but I'll name names if need be. They would pass disinformation on who was saying no, and in the end, just let my people in. What's going on? What are you hiding something in there? Is this really an appropriate place anyway to stockpile that kind of stuff? Why isn't it being out to the public?
It's also my understanding there's a construction project going on and renovations going on. Is that the wisest thing to have happen when you're trying to store PPE as a construction project, as opposed to having it out to the medical community?
Yeah, I have no idea. I know a guy was out here, you can see his pile of stonemason was sawing away. I don't know if it's putting stones on the side here, okay, whatever. But since I'm not allowed in, and it's not a safety issue, I don't know what's going on or the justification for it. Other than the bureaucrats don't want anyone to see what's going on in there, and what are they hiding? Once again, there might be nothing, and they had their chance just to say, come on in, Senator. And here's why we have 15 to 20,000 pallet loads for the following explanation, but instead it's just duck and hide, excuses, shift. No, it's PEMA. No, it's Ag. No, it's the police. No, it's this person. And in the end, we didn't get in.
Senator, that's the question. That's the fundamental question. What's behind these doors that
I don't know.
It is so mission critical that a sitting senator on the committee cannot gain access?
This is just sickening to me. I'm really just so tired of it. It's just, for me, it's not gotcha. It's just, I don't play those games. That's what politicians do. I just want to know what the heck's going on and what the truth is. And I spoke directly with the secretary and told him the past year I've been sickened by the lack of cooperation between everybody, and he agreed with me. And then I just assumed, okay, I wrongly assumed, I'll just drive over there and they got nothing to hide. And then, you know, obviously when you try the Missouri, you know, show me, facts are stubborn things. Like, no, you can't get in. And then I have 4 or 5 layers of bureaucracy and outright deception on why I can't get in there. I'll call it lies. You know, I've been lied to by some of these bureaucrats. I'm sick of it.
So what's next? What are next steps?
We will keep on pushing, and in a few days or next week, eventually, you know, they'll let us in on their terms and conditions. You know, we'll probably have an entourage of, you know, of dozens with us, and by then they'll craft a little statement. The media, the legacy media, won't care because they like this administration, and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good reason, and everything will move on. But nobody will talk about the health. You know, we're told follow the science. You know, all hands on deck, you know, except when it's really about, you know, following the science and helping people. The government here is supposed to serve the people. I haven't seen a lot of that. And this kind of attitude, this bureaucratic malaise that's settled in Harrisburg with no accountability and oversight is just, it's daunting. You know, the legacy media will turn over every stone at their political opponents, which is Republicans like me. But when it comes to, you know, their dear governor and the Secretary of State, the previous one and the acting one, a lot of grace and mercy. I wish there was that much forgiveness, grace, and mercy extended to me.
There's photos that are out there of what's inside, the tens of thousands of pallets, masks, shields, any number of other PPE supplies. There are school kids and school teachers that want to go back to in-person learning that have been sitting in hybrid or remote learning for almost a year. What would you say to them with the supplies right behind these doors?
That's the problem. I just want to know what's going on. I saw the pics. Saw it today like thousands of other people from across the state. And if indeed there's a stockpile, it needs to be released to the people of the state. It's not doing any good in here. I mean, I'm sure there must be other warehouses around the state. Surely this is not the only place, but at least answer the questions. Is it okay? This is the only, okay, I get it then. But nobody's giving us answers. We're not given access. There's no transparency. This stockpile should have been distributed across the state last fall when there was a crisis, when there was a shortage. Remember that? Hospitals needed it. Healthcare providers, long-term care facilities that had this catastrophe created by the governor and its failed Secretary of Health, they should have had it to save lives, to protect people. But for some reason, I don't know if it's just, I don't think it's malfeasance. I think it's just incompetence.
Senator, as always, thank you so much for the time and keeping up the fight.